Calling all cars, a copyrighted program created by Rio Grande.
Los Angeles Sheriff's Office calling all cars. Attention all cars. Broadcast 297 regarding a murder. Assist the officers aboard the Johanna Smith gambling ship off Long Beach. That's all. Rosenquist.
Most gasolines sold today are much improved over those of yesterday, but still there is a difference. All-purpose Rio Grande Cracked is one of those different gasolines. Ordinary gasoline contains only 3 ingredients, while the new all-purpose Rio Grande Cracked contains 6 ingredients expertly blended. These 6 are cracked, poly, straight run, casing head, stabilizer, and tetraethyl. These terms may mean little to you, but to a petroleum engineer and to your motor, they mean more power, more mileage, smoother performance, and more speed. These are the qualifications specified by the drivers of police cars, fire engines, ambulances, and other emergency equipment. In other words, our engineers have tailored our gasoline to conform to the demands of these exacting buyers of gasoline. And I assure you that when you purchase your gasoline from the red and white Rio Grande station, you'll get the same gasoline which is used in this important automotive equipment. Try this new all-purpose gasoline just once, and you will then know why it is the most highly recommended gasoline sold in the West. Although the story we are to hear tonight fell within the jurisdiction of the federal government, it was through the cooperation of the office of Sheriff Eugene Biscalews of Los Angeles County that the information we are about to present was secured. We have therefore asked Sheriff Biscalews to open our program.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is a pleasure to again appear on Calling All Cars with a story that proves once more the truth of the adage that crime cannot pay. As you shall see as the program progresses, the mere existence of obstacles never deters a law enforcement officer from ultimately achieving his goal. Tonight's story was brought to its conclusion through the cooperation of officers from several jurisdictions. It is a source of increasing satisfaction to me that such cooperation is stronger today than ever in the effort of law enforcement agencies to bring home to the criminally inclined the proof that crime never can pay.
Riding at anchor 7 miles out from shore at Long Beach, California, the gambling ship Johanna Smith rolled easily on the bosom of the Pacific. It was not yet midnight of September 20th, 1933, but already 240 patrons milled about in the ship's huge gambling casino.
One natural, guys. Don't hide from him, Papa. Come on, guys. 7's a 4-way point. Show it to me.
Come on, hit me. Oh, hit me again. Okay, I'm good.
Thanks, plenty.
Oh, hey, wait a minute. Look, Sugar Daddy. Red came up again.
Looks like you're in tonight, fella. Keep your fingers crossed, honey. I'm betting it works in the next turn.
Suddenly, from the forward promenade deck on the port side of the ship, 5 staccato reports crashed through the night. So absorbed were the players in the casino that none heard the shots, but to the keen ears of engineer Frank Tinsley in the boiler room below, it was a different story.
Did you hear that, Sam?
Yeah, it sounded like shots.
Well, not only sounded like them, they were shots.
Good night. You don't suppose somebody's got drilled, do you, Frank?
No, probably some wise guy showing his girlfriend how well he can shoot.
Yeah. More likely using the light bulbs in the rigging as targets. I've known him to do that.
Well, whatever it is, I'll darn soon put a stop to it.
Want me to come with you?
No, you better stick around here. I'll be back in a minute.
Engineer Tinsley hurried on deck and into the casino. Nothing wrong there. He dashed up a short flight of stairs and groped his way to the forward promenade deck. In the dim light, he almost stumbled over a dark form that lay at his feet in a slowly widening pool of blood.
Oh. Hey, fella. Are you hurt very bad? Try to answer me, fella. Who shot you?
Hey, Tinsley, is that you?
Yes, sir. It's me, all right, Captain.
What seems to be the trouble?
Well, this fellow's been shot by somebody. Looks like he's hurt pretty bad.
Did you just find him?
Yes, sir. I heard the shots down in the boiler room and came up to find out what was going on.
He's still alive, that's a cinch.
Yes.
I'll see if there's a doctor on board. Hold up your van a minute, Phil. I want to make an announcement to the people here in the casino.
Certainly, Captain.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'll only interrupt you a second. I want to find out if there's a doctor here. A man's been hurt. If there's a doctor present, I'd like him to please step forward. Now, please. There's nothing to be alarmed about. I'll ask once more, is there a doctor here? No? Well, then I'm sorry, but all guests will remain in the casino for the time being. I repeat, there's no need for alarm. I only ask you to amuse yourselves here in the casino for the next few minutes. All right, Phil, go ahead.
Captain MacDonald and Steward Harvey Pons rushed the badly wounded man toward shore in a water taxi. But it was an undertaking establishment where he finally arrived, having died during the trip. The Long Beach police were at once notified, and Lieutenant of Detective C.E. Peterson and Detective Sergeant M.B. Payne were assigned to the case. Peterson's first official act was to telephone to Captain Muller S. Hay, commander of the United States Coast Guard Station number 17 at San Pedro.
Captain Hay? This is Detective Lieutenant Peterson of the Long Beach Police.
Oh, yes?
There's been some trouble out on the gambling ship Johanna Smith. A shooting.
Oh, I see. Well, what do you want me to do?
I'd like to have you send a cutter to stand by out there and see that no passengers disembark from the ship until given permission to do so from the proper authorities.
Certainly. I'll be glad to cooperate.
Well, thank you, Captain.
Special agents from the United States Department of Justice were also notified, and within a short time augmented the forces of the municipal police aboard the gambling vessel.
The launch with those government men just pulled alongside, Peterson. They're coming aboard now. Oh, yes. Thank you, Captain MacDonald.
We're special agents from the Department of Justice. Who's in charge here?
I'm in charge of the investigation. My name's Peterson.
Oh, yes, Peterson. They gave us your name when we were sent out.
Yeah, this is Captain MacDonald. He's master of the Johanna Smith.
All right, Captain.
I took a chance when I called you that this case would be in your jurisdiction.
That's right. Murder on an American vessel on the high seas interests Uncle Sam, all right.
Right up here is where the man's body was found.
Any line on who might have killed him?
Not yet. I found these 5 exploded shell cases on the deck.
Hmm. Came from a 32, eh?
Yes.
Here, what's this?
Where?
Embedded in the deck here. Looks like a steel-jacketed lead slug.
Well, funny I missed that. Yeah, I'll have it out in a second. We'll take a look at it.
Yeah, it's probably a 32 bullet, all right. Keep it with the shells, and we'll find out for sure later. What I want to know now is what happened here.
Well, I was in the boiler room below, and I heard 5 shots fired up here. I ran on up and found a young man lying in a pool of blood.
Who are you?
My name's Tinsley, sir. I'm the engineer aboard.
Mm-hmm. Go on.
I asked this fellow who shot him. He couldn't answer. Then Captain MacDonald came along. He and Harvey Pons. Harvey's the steward. They carried the man down to a water taxi.
The boy died before we reached the docks. Never regained consciousness.
You know who he was?
Haven't the least idea. But I know whoever killed him is still on board this ship.
How do you know that, Captain?
Because nobody's been permitted to leave. Those are my orders before we took the boy's body ashore.
Well, that was using your head. What about the murder gun, Peterson? Did you find it?
Not yet. But we took these things off the dead man's body. Here, look them over.
Mm-hmm. 32 caliber Colt's automatic. Fully loaded, huh? Blood-stained road map. Hey, what's this?
It's a seaman's certificate of registration.
The name's a little hard to make out. Let's see. It looks like Norman Lorraine. Is that how it looks to you?
Yes, that's the name, all right.
Where did he keep all this stuff?
He had it in the inside pocket of his coat.
The gun and everything?
That's right. The road map was folded over the butt of the automatic.
What does the murdered man look like?
Young, rather good looking. I'd say between 20 and 25 years old, 6 feet tall, had curly black hair.
Shot at close range, would you say?
I think so. 1 bullet entered the side of his chest. He caught another in the stomach, and 2 went into his back. A 5th bullet just grazed him.
Yeah. About how many guests have you aboard, Captain?
240, as I figured.
How many in the crew?
65. including the waiters, musicians, dealers, and all.
So now all we have to do is find out which of 305 people is the one we're looking for.
That's right.
Well, what do you think we better do first?
Oh, I suppose we'll have to start by questioning every one of these people.
What a job.
Oh, while we're doing it, we better have a search made of the ship, see if anyone's hiding out somewhere or see if we can't find that gun.
Why couldn't one of your special agents take Tinsley here and 3 or 4 members of the crew? Or we question the people in the casino?
Yeah, that's an idea.
Well, the sooner we get started, the sooner we'll find out something. That is, if we're going to find out anything. A few minutes later, the patrons at the casino were segregated in a corner where it was impossible for them to communicate with members of the crew. Then the trying task of questioning was begun. You know a young man named Norman Lorraine?
No.
Did you hear any shots fired?
No.
Is anyone missing from your party?
No.
Have you seen anyone acting suspiciously?
No.
Then began the questioning of the crew. It began to look hopeless that the officers would receive even a shred of information until at last 2 members of the ship's orchestra were approached. Did you hear any shots fired?
Well, yes, at least something that sounded like shots.
So did I, officer.
Where were you boys when you heard these shots?
Well, we were up on the upper deck having a cup of coffee.
Yes? What then?
Well, we heard this noise and looked out the window. A few seconds later, I saw a man walk past the coffee shop.
But neither of you made any effort to find out what had happened?
Well, no, sir. We just thought it was some drunk showing off.
Can you describe the man you saw?
Well, all I know is he had on a snap-brim felt hat. I think it was a gray one. I think he had on a gray suit, too, but might have been blue or maybe it was brown. I don't know.
That's a big help.
Well, it was pretty dark out there, and I only just caught a glimpse of him.
Do you think you'd know him again if you saw him?
Oh, me? No, I wouldn't know him in a million years.
Well, that's just swell.
What's the matter, Peterson?
I thought I was going to get myself a little information here, but all I get is talk about gray felt hats. Good night, there's 60 men in there with gray felt hats.
Tough luck. Here's some more. That search party combed the ship but didn't find a thing.
No game, huh?
No.
Well, it's 10 to 1. The killer tossed the gun overboard, so I'd hardly expect him to find that.
Still, he himself must be aboard somewhere.
Unless he decided to jump overboard after he shot this fellow.
And commit suicide?
Say, look at here, officers. How much longer are you going to keep us here aboard this ship?
I'm sorry, but we've got to keep you here a while longer, sir.
This is an imposition. Do you realize it's after 2 o'clock in the morning? I have work to do.
Oh, I understand that, sir, but I'm helpless to do anything about it for the present.
I never heard of such an outrage. I'll sue the ship. That's what I'll do. Yes, by George, I'll sue the ship.
Oh, dear. I'm afraid this situation with the guests is going to be a little tough before we're through here.
Yeah, I know it is. And that isn't going to make things any easier.
Uh-oh. Here comes another one. A woman this time.
Please, I've simply got to get home, officers. Please let me go.
I wish I could, lady. I'd like to, but my hands are tied.
But you don't understand. You see, well, my husband, he works all night, and if he gets home and finds I'm not there,
It can't be done. Not yet, anyway. I'm sorry, lady.
But don't you see?
It won't help you to cry, lady. I can't let anyone off this ship.
But you've got no right to hold us. We didn't do anything. Oh, what am I going to do? What am I going to tell him?
Tell him you were up with a sick friend.
This business is pretty apt to get a lot more serious. I'm beginning to wish we could catch this killer, if only to be able to send these people home.
I'll agree with you on that. If we have to hold them many more hours, we're liable to have open mutiny staring us in the face.
But in spite of the growing impatience and muttered threats of the guests who crowded the ship, the investigators proceeded grimly with the task before them. Names, addresses, and occupations of every person aboard were carefully listed. Finally, at 6 o'clock in the morning, it was decided that 175 men and women who had satisfactorily established their identities should be permitted to leave the ship. From there, by a process of elimination, the group of suspects was at last reduced to 7 men.
Well, the only thing I can see to do, Peterson, is to go question the 7 suspects we're holding and see if we can narrow them down any more.
That's about all. Let's see now. What do we got?
According to their statements, we got 3 garage mechanics, an ex-convict, a chauffeur, a newspaper reporter, and a seaman. It's quite a collection.
I'm just as certain as I'm standing here that one of those 7 is the killer. But how are we going to prove it?
Yeah, that is a question. They all deny knowing the dead man. No weapons were found on them, no bloodstains on their clothing.
Not only that, but they all seem to have letters or cards of identification. All but the ex-convict have jobs, and none of them are wearing gray snap-brim hats.
Well, let's have one more go at them. The boys have got them in this cabin here. All right, you fellows. We're going to give you another chance to talk. Now, once again, do any of you know Norman Lorraine or know of him?
How many times do we have to tell you?
And none of you have got a gun ditched around here?
Say, we've been answering these questions all night. If you don't let us go ashore right away, we're liable to lose our jobs.
Hey, aren't you the one who said you were a newspaper man?
Yeah.
I thought you said you worked on a San Francisco sheet.
I do, but that doesn't mean my job keeps me in San Francisco all the time.
Why don't you let up on us?
What's wrong, son? What are you crying about?
Oh, I know what's going to happen. You'll pin this on me. You know I just got out of the pen a few days ago.
So what?
Oh, you can't kid me. I know I'm due to be framed for this job.
Why do you think that? Nobody's going to pin anything on you haven't done.
Well, if the parole board finds out I'm mixed up in this affair, they'll send me back.
Just sit tight and quit your blubbering. You haven't been accused of anything yet.
Do we go ashore this morning or don't we?
Well, keep your shirt on. You newspaper guys are always in a hurry.
That's our job.
Okay, boys. I'll let you go ashore. But before you go, I'm going to have a complete set of fingerprints from each of you.
Huh? You're going to take our prints?
Well, sure. Why not? You birds have spent half the night telling us how innocent you are, so you oughtn't to mind a little thing like that. Okay, Sergeant Payne. Bring in the ink pads. We're going to collect a few souvenirs. Shortly after 8 o'clock, the officers were in possession of the fingerprints they desired, and the last of the gambling ship's guests, including the 7 suspects, were aboard a water taxi bound for Long Beach. As one of the special agents stood on the landing platform of the Johanna Smith, depressed by his failure to apprehend the killer, the voice of one of the passengers floated back to him from the fastest clearing boat.
Hey, I saw someone pick up a gun in the lounge a minute ago.
You what?
A gun. Someone picked up a gun in the
Peterson,
lounge.
did you hear that? Yeah, something about a gun, wasn't it?
Hey, bring that launch about. Bring those people back here to the ship.
They'll never hear you, not with the fog and noise of the motor and all. Quick, we got to get those people back here. Hey, there's another launch down there. In fact, a speedboat. Go head them off and get them back here. Right. I'll have that launch back here in no time.
Where's Peterson going, sir?
After that boatload of people had just left, Sergeant, someone yelled up to me that a gun had been found.
A gun?
Yeah. Let's go see what we can find out.
There's a ship's watchman just going into the casino. Maybe he knows something.
We'll ask him. Hey, just a minute there.
Hey, what's that?
Just a minute.
Hey, yes, sir, yes.
Did anyone find a gun?
No, nobody ain't having the fun.
I say, did anyone find a gun on board during the last few minutes?
Oh, a gun. Let me see. Yes, I believe Abba Dabba found a gun. But it was too small to be the one you officers are looking for.
Who's Abba Dabba?
He's the boat black here. Everybody calls him Abba Dabba. Yeah, but I guess it's just a nickname.
Why didn't you report this right away?
Well, it's not the gun you're looking for, mister. It's just a little old 32.
A 32?
Yeah.
Get Abba Dabba here right away.
Yeah.
And I hear one of you gentlemen call me?
If you're Abba Dabba, you sure did. What's this about your finding a gun?
Nothing. I just found one, that's all.
Where'd you find it?
In the man's smoking room.
Why didn't you bring it to one of the officers?
Well, like this, I done showed it to watchman here. He pulled the trigger and take out the clip. Then they say, Abba Dabba, this gun ain't much count. If you want it, you can keep it.
How'd you happen to find it?
Oh, sir, all evening I've been finding bottles hidden in the lounge. I've been drinking a little out of each bottle. That's why I feel the way I feel now.
So I see. Well, what about this gun?
Well, I just read behind one of them big ash stands and I find it's your gun.
Well, where is it now?
In that drawer where my shoe shine stuff is.
Take a look in there, Sergeant.
Yes, sir. Here it is, sir.
Let's have a look at it. 32 caliber Mauser automatic. Been fired recently, too.
Shall I check it for fingerprints?
Yeah, and right away.
Yes, sir.
You're sure you two fellas aren't shielding somebody? Some member of the crew who might have pulled this killing?
No, sir, no. I never saw the gun until Abba Dabba showed it to me. I don't know a thing about it.
Oh, I wouldn't shield nobody, not even my own self. I'd be too scared. Just like I told you.
Well, this looks kind of funny to me.
Well, don't look funny to me, sir. It look gruesome, powerful gruesome. Killing someone I don't want no truck with.
Well, how's the gun look for prints, Sergeant?
Looks like we're out of luck, sir. Gun's been handled by too many people since the crime was committed.
I headed off the launch without any trouble, sir. The people are coming aboard now. But they're pretty hot under the collar. Well, that can't be helped, Peterson. You'd better bring those 7 suspects in here. I should worry about the rest. Okay. All right, boys. Send in the lads we printed.
Okay.
And we might add these 2 to the 7, for the time being, anyway. Who are they? The watchman and the boot black.
I don't want to be adding nothing, sir. I just want to go home, give me some sleep.
Say, when of you cops got to finish with this monkey business? I've had about enough of it.
You'll take it and like it. And that tone isn't going to do you any good either.
I thought you fellas were going to let us go.
We are, if you got the right answers to some questions.
But they better be the right ones.
I knew you guys would bring me back here and hang this on me.
Hey, you seem to be dead set on getting stuck with this murder, don't you? What's the matter, your conscience?
No, but I know how these things work out. If a guy's ever done a stretch, ain't they try to...
Wait a minute, officer. Let me talk.
Oh, the newspaper reporter again, huh? Oh, what is it?
I'm the man you're looking for.
You're what?
I say I'm the man you're looking for.
Oh, yeah? And what kind of a gun did you shoot Lorraine with?
A Mauser.
What did you do with it after the shooting?
I kept it quite a while, then hid it back at one of those sand-filled ash stands in the lounge. That was just before I was searched.
What made you want to confess all of a sudden?
Just to beat you to it, that's all. You'd have got me by my prints. I knew the jig was up as soon as I heard the gun had been found.
Are you willing to make a full statement?
Sure. Why not?
Here, take a look at this. Is this the gun you shot him with?
Yeah. This is my gun.
All right, then. Flee these other suspects out of here. We'll listen to what this fellow has to say. You told us your name was Sullivan. Was that right?
No. It's Walsh. James J. Walsh.
Where did you first meet Lorraine, the man you shot?
We were cellmates at Leavenworth Penitentiary.
Oh. Will you show us exactly how you committed this murder?
Sure. We were walking along like this, see? There'd been an argument. Suddenly we stopped walking, and I let him have it. Like this.
Mm-hmm. Cute. How long you been out of the pen, Walsh?
Since last March. Lorraine got out a few months later.
And the two of you got together again, is that it?
Yeah. We met in San Francisco.
What did you do there?
Nothing much. Worked at a few jobs. Then we went to Sacramento.
What then?
Then on to Stockton, San Jose.
Did you do any work at any of these last places?
No. We looked for jobs, but we didn't find any.
Yeah. Where'd you buy your guns?
I bought mine in Sacramento. Lorraine got a .32 automatic in San Jose.
Why did you buy these guns?
Make a living with, I guess.
Did you commit any robberies?
No. We were waiting for something good.
When did you come to Long Beach?
Last Monday.
Well, how'd the two of you happen to come out here at the Joanna Smith?
I don't know. We'd been drinking and quarreling most of yesterday afternoon, and I...
What were you quarreling about?
Well, we've been working on a plan to kidnap a big shot oil man, but we couldn't seem to agree on some of the details.
No, I don't want any part of this bumping off stuff. Kidnapping's one thing. Murder's another.
Yeah? Well, look. Every time somebody kidnaps a guy and then brings him back safe and healthy, that guy gets caught. Not for me. I like the old saying, dead men tell no tales.
Sometimes I don't think you're human. That's no attitude to take. Even animals have got more heart than that.
You're dopey.
Listen, I'll stick with you on any job just so long as you don't knock off an innocent guy. But if you ever do so, help me, I'll turn you in.
You're too soft for your own good. I suppose you'd squeal if I killed a cop even.
No, that's different.
Well, if you want to know, I'd just as soon kill you as anybody. And it wouldn't bother my conscience any, because as far as I'm concerned, you're just a rat.
Okay. Let's not say any more about it.
After the two of you got out here to the ship, the argument continued, eh?
Yeah, I was still talking about my code of kill or be killed. He sort of seemed to be afraid of me.
What made you feel he was afraid of you, Walsh?
I don't know exactly. But while we were walking on the upper deck, he acted afraid. Stopped several times.
Did he ever make a move toward his gun?
Well, he unbuttoned his coat. The gun was in his inside pocket.
But he never actually reached for it.
After a minute he did. We'd stopped walking by this time. Both of us seemed to sense a showdown. Neither of us said nothing.
What happened then?
Then he started to reach in his inside pocket. I guess he knew I was mad enough to kill him. So I pulled out my gun and released the safety. Only meant to bluff him into giving up his gun.
Yeah, but instead you shot him.
Sure. You see, he kept on going after his gun. I think the first bullet hit him in the stomach because he lurched forward and moaned.
And you kept on firing at him?
I figured I'd better put him out of his misery. So I emptied my gun into him.
Did Lorraine ever draw his gun clear of his pocket?
I can't say for sure, but I think he did.
Did you actually see Lorraine draw his gun?
I think so. That was before I started shooting.
Yeah, did Lorraine shoot?
No.
Then how do you explain the fact that when Lorraine was found after the shooting, his gun was still in his inside pocket?
I suppose he let go of the gun after the first bullet hit him and it fell back in.
After shooting Lorraine, what did you do?
First, I threw my hat overboard. Then I just walked around, mingled with the crowd.
How far away from him were you when you started firing?
About 5 feet.
Have you anything further to add to this statement?
Only that when I killed Lorraine, I felt that it was either his life or mine.
When the statement which James J. Walsh made to the officers had been transcribed, he read and signed it. However, just before the case went to trial, Detective Lieutenant Peterson and the special agent in charge of the government's case against the killer confronted him once more in his jail cell.
Hello, Walsh. We just thought we'd drop in for a little talk.
What about?
Your trial's coming up in a few days.
Don't you suppose I know it?
Hey, we just wondered if you felt the same way about that confession. You hadn't thought of repudiating it in court, had you?
No. Why?
That's good. Because it'd be just a waste of time and cost the government a lot of money.
How do you mean?
Well, you see, it's been definitely proved that the bullets that killed Lorraine were fired from the gun you bought in Sacramento.
Yeah?
Yeah. Besides that, the man who sold it to you has positively identified you from photographs.
So what? You guys had me nailed dead to rights right from the first place, didn't you?
No, Walsh. I'm afraid we didn't.
What do you mean? You had my prints on a gun. What else could I do but confess?
No. We didn't have your prints on the gun. So many people had handled it after you did that it was all covered with smears. Not a print of any description.
What are you guys trying to tell me? That I could have got away with it if I kept my mouth shut?
Oh, you never could have gotten away with it, Walsh. We'd have found you out in the long run, but you sure saved us a lot of trouble.
Well, I'll be hanged.
You're telling me.
In just a moment, we shall hear the concluding facts regarding tonight's story. Friends, it pays to use no gasoline but the best in your motor. All-purpose Rio Grande cracked gasoline is the first in public service, the most highly recommended gasoline sold in the West. For more power, more mileage, smoother performance, fill up with this new all-purpose Rio Grande. If you haven't done so, try it tomorrow. Walsh was brought to trial in federal court before Judge Harry Holzer. Psychiatrists found him sane, but of such criminal tendencies as to be dangerous to society. He was found guilty and sentenced to spend the remainder of his life contemplating the truth that crime cannot pay.
Los Angeles Sheriff's Office calling all cars. Attention all cars to cancellation of broadcast 297 regarding a murder. Suspect in this case is now in custody. That's all. Rosenquist.
This is your narrator, Frederick Lindsley, bidding you good night for Rio Grande.
Next week at this time, Rio Grande will present The Case of the Missing Guns. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Calling all cars, a copyrighted program created by Rio Grande.
New Mexico State Police calling all cars. Attention all cars to broadcast 298 regarding a murder. Assist Lincoln County officer. That's all. Rosenquist.
more than 6 years, Rio Grande cracked gasoline has powered more police cars, fire engines, ambulances, and other emergency equipment wherever it has been sold than any other brand. Folks, this statement is significant. Significant that Rio Grande cracked has always been a superior gasoline, one of the best sold on the market. But our engineers felt they could produce a better gasoline, and after months of experimenting, perfected a new and different gasoline. Instead of the 3 ingredients found in ordinary gasolines, the new all-purpose Rio Grande cracked contains 6 ingredients, perfectly blended to give you more power, more mileage, more speed, and better performance. I realize that so many extravagant statements are made about various products that you might think this is just another claim. But friends, I assure you that this is not the case. To prove it, will you do this for me? Next time you need gasoline, drive into a red and white Rio Grande service station and fill up with new all-purpose Rio Grande cracked. One test in your own car will prove that it's virtually liquid dynamite. The story we are to hear tonight has been taken in the main from the confidential files of the State Police of New Mexico. We have therefore asked Chief Tom Summers to prepare a foreword for our program.
When a person thinks of New Mexico, he is likely to visualize vast stretches of uninhabited desert. He has been led to believe the entire West is like that. Such, however, is not the truth. New Mexico considers itself one of the more fortunate states. Especially is this true when it comes to scientific crime detection. Test tubes and microscopes now make it virtually impossible to mistake the identity of a person who has left his trademark at the scene of a crime. Even the master criminal has failed to produce the perfect crime, the one in which no clue is left behind. It is these telltale traces that the modern detective uses to make his deductions, and unerringly, as well as invitably. He brings home to the lawbreaker the lesson of the losing nature of crime. As our program progresses, we shall learn how this science of crime detection helps solve a baffling case.
On the morning of July 23rd, 1938, Captain Jack L. Nichols, in charge of the State Police at Roswell, New Mexico, received a telephone call from Sheriff S.E. Greisen of Lincoln County.
Yes? Hello.
Hello. Say, Nichols, this is Sheriff Greisen. I'm calling from Ancho.
Oh, yes, Sheriff. What can I do for you?
There was a double killing here last night, and I thought maybe I better call you and see if you wanted to come over here and take charge of the investigation.
Oh, murder, huh?
Yeah, no doubt about that.
Well, look, Sheriff, you see that nothing's touched, will you? I'll get over there as soon as I can.
When do you figure that'll be?
Well, the better part of 3 hours anyway. It's well over 100 miles from here to Ancho, you know.
Okay, Nichols, I'll be expecting you in about 3 hours. So long.
Goodbye.
Oh, howdy, Nichols. You didn't have much trouble finding me, did you?
Well, not in a town of a couple of hundred people, Sheriff. Besides, I can see the crowd gathered around here.
Yeah, there's quite a few folks hanging around the place. My boys have seen they didn't disturb anything, though.
This is where the killings happened, is it?
Yep. You can see it's a combination service station and grocery store.
Who owns the place?
Frank Hawley. He's one of the men that was killed.
I see. And who was the other one?
Bill Fletcher. He's a young fellow that worked for Hawley.
What was the motive, Sheriff? Robbery?
Looks like it. But come on, have a look for yourself. The bodies are around back.
You kept the crowd away from where the bodies were found?
Oh, sure.
Hawley lived here in the store, I suppose.
Yep. He had a couple of rooms fixed up in the rear. That's where he was killed.
He was killed inside the place?
That's right. Now, you'll see in a minute.
Well, what about the Fletcher boy? Was he inside, too?
No, his body is just around the corner here. There, you can see it now, just a few steps away from the back door.
Oh, yes. Shot, huh?
In the head.
Have you looked around here for footprints?
Yep, found 2 or 3 pretty clear ones, too. A few more got stamped out by the folks milling around here earlier, before my boys could get them away from here.
Are these the footprints you mean?
Yeah, those are the ones.
Well, they are pretty clear at that. Good. We'll have plaster casts made of them.
That's an idea, or at least it will be if we can find the shoes to fit them.
There's no point in you police officers fooling around here. Get Pedro Sanchez. He's the bozo who done it.
What's that? Who's that fellow just hollered at us, Sheriff?
Him? Oh, he's just one of the crowd.
Some of them's got the notion Pedro Sanchez is mixed up in this.
Seems to me I've heard of Sanchez. Isn't he the local bad man around here or something like that?
Well, he's a pretty tough customer, all right, but I don't think he had anything to do with this killing.
Why not?
We've already talked to him. As far as I can see, he's got an airtight alibi.
Then what gives some of these people the idea that Sanchez is the killer?
Well, anything that goes haywire around here, folks right away blame it onto him.
Not a very choice reputation, has he?
Nope. Well, let's go inside. Maybe you can find something there that we overlooked.
Okay.
When we first got here, the boys and me, both this screen door and the side door were locked from the inside.
Then whoever killed Hawley never got in the place, is that it?
That's it. There's Hawley's body lying across the bed there.
He was shot too, huh?
Yep. The bullet come through the screen and the glass of the window. You can see by looking at the holes that had come through from the outside.
Yes, I see. The window and the back door. But if Hawley came to the door in answer to the killers and was shot there, what's his body doing on the bed?
Well, that had me stumped right at first, too. But then I figured the impact of the bullet probably knocked him over onto the bed. He was hit in the body.
That gun down there on the floor by Hawley's feet. Is that the way it was when you found him?
Yep. I picked it up to see if it had been fired, but put it back just the way it was.
Let's have a look at it. It's an old Frontier six-shooter, isn't it?
That's right. It's Hawley's gun. I've seen it before.
Hasn't been fired. Not recently, anyway.
Probably never got a chance to use it.
What's this lying here, a money box?
Yep. Hasn't anybody been into it, though. It's still locked.
You know where the keys are?
Probably in Hawley's pants pocket. There's his pants on the floor where he dropped them. I guess he was figuring on putting them on when he went to the door last night.
Well, let's see here. I'll look through them, see if I can't find... Yeah, here they are. These are his keys. I guess this little one here is the one that fits the box.
Yeah, looks likely.
Everything in it looks okay to me. There's money here. Doesn't look as if anything was touched.
I reckon if robbery was the killer's motive, it's sort of soured on him.
Yeah, we'll take this money box along with us and look it over more thoroughly later on.
What about the pants and gun?
We'll take them along, too, when we go, Sheriff. And now I want to have another look around outside.
Okay.
So far, all we've been able to go on are these footprints. If we could only find it... Say, wait a minute. What's this?
What's what?
Right down here by the door, lying on the ground there.
By George, it looks like an empty cartridge shell.
That's what it is, too. I've got it.
Can you make out what kind of a gun fired it, Nichols?
This was fired by a .45 automatic.
Then I reckon it held the bullet that killed young Fletcher. The minute I saw the wound in his head, I figured it was done with a .45.
Did anyone else work for Hawley?
Yeah, he had a Spanish girl. Consuela Mendoza's her name. She works in the store.
Is she anywhere around?
Well, I thought I saw her here. Yep, there she is. Out there in the crowd.
I'll have her come inside. I want to talk to her.
In the back there?
No, of course not, Sheriff. Have her come around the front of the store. I'll talk to her there.
Okay. Consuela. Consuela, come here, will you? Captain Nichols wants to talk to you.
Now, I want you to answer my questions truthfully, Consuela, and tell me everything you know about this. Don't try to hold anything back.
Si, senor.
How long have you worked for Mr. Hawley?
About 2 years, senor.
Do you know of any enemies he might have had, anyone he'd had trouble with?
Well, there were 2 brothers, senor. Their names, I think, are Engels. Sometimes these men they would quarrel with Senor Hawley.
What about, do you know?
They had trouble over a piece of ground.
A piece of ground? How do you mean?
Well, I don't know exactly. I think it was about what you call right-of-way, something like that.
You mean the right-of-way over some piece of property?
Oh, si, senor. Maybe you are right.
Did they become very angry? Were there ever any fights?
Fights? Oh, no, senor. Sometimes I think there will be, and I get all excited. But no, they cool off and get over their mad for a little while. It was very disappointing.
I see. And you don't think it was serious enough for there to have been a killing over?
Oh, no, senor. If it was not worth a punch in the eye, it was not worth to kill over.
Is there anything else you might tell me? Anything that would give me a clue as to who committed this murder?
I don't think so, senor. Only it wasn't me.
No, I think we can be reasonably certain of that, Consuelo.
Gracias, senor.
Yeah. And if that's all that you can think to tell me, let me go now.
Si, senor.
But if you should think of anything you feel we ought to know, don't hesitate to get in touch with either Sheriff Bryson or myself at once.
Si, senor, at once.
The coroner's come after the bodies like you ordered, Nichols. They're taking them into Corazosa.
Corazosa?
Sure. Ancho's too small to have a coroner of their own. Dr. Kelly acts as coroner for this part of the county.
Oh, yeah, sure. I know Dr. Kelly.
He thinks he'll have a report for you sometime this evening.
Fine. Meanwhile, I'm going to check around these parts and find out if anybody's bought a .45 automatic recently. Then you'd say that both men died instantly. Is that it, Dr. Kelly?
I'm certain of it, Captain Nichols.
And chances are Hawley's had the light on in his room. That would make him stand out as a target when he came to the door. So we can reason from that the killer or killers were dead shots.
Well, that's not so unusual in this part of the country.
And personally, I think everything points to there being two killers involved. My report agrees with that of the ballistics experts. Each of the men was shot by a different caliber bullet.
That's right. Fletcher with a .45 automatic and Hawley with a bullet from a .30-30 carbine.
The problem now lies in finding those two guns. Once we have them, I think the case will be solved.
And that don't look like it's going to be so easy.
I've spent the whole afternoon getting around to the stores and trying to find out if anybody's bought a .45 automatic or the shells for one recently.
By George, now let me think. I sold a .45 automatic and some shells for it only a week ago. I have a hardware store here in Carrizosa, you know.
Yes, that's what I understand. Do you remember who you sold it to, Doctor?
It was Randall Mixon. He's a young fellow with a ranch up near Ancho.
Randall Mixon, eh? Now, what do you suppose that young scamp wants with a .45 automatic? He does all his hunting with a rifle.
Oh, you know him, do you, Sheriff?
Sure. He and his old man homesteaded a place up there. He has a brother, Louis, homesteading not far away from them.
Well, I'm not so sure it won't be worth our while to take a run up there in the morning and have a talk with young Mixon.
No, I don't reckon it'll be a lick amiss. Anyway, we've got to do something pretty quick. Public sentiment's getting higher all the time against this Mexican Pedro Sanchez.
Well, Sanchez is a pretty bad egg.
Sure, I know. But I don't think he had a hand in this. And besides, we don't want any lynchings here in Carrizosa.
Why? Do you think the crowd's out of hand enough about this Mexican to try anything like that, Sheriff?
You can't tell, but I'll feel a sight easier about things after we make an arrest. There's Louis Mixon's place now. I'll pull into the yard.
I want to talk to Louis first before we hunt up Randall. Randall Mixon's ranch isn't far from here, is it?
No, not very. He and his dad live up the road a few miles.
While we're talking to Louis, keep your eye peeled for any guns around the place. Remember, we're looking for a .30-30 carbine now, as well as a .45 automatic.
Yeah, I know. Well, here we are.
Don't say anything that might make him suspect why we're here, Sheriff.
I won't. Don't worry. Oh, howdy, Mrs. Mixon. Is your husband home?
Why, no, he isn't, Sheriff.
Could you tell us where we can find him?
Yes, he's over at his pa's house hitching up a team.
I see. Well, could you tell us where Louis' .30-30 is?
Well, no, I don't know. It used to hang on the wall over there. Let's see, what could he have done with it?
Has it been gone long?
No, don't seem to me it's been missing from his holder very long. Maybe a couple of weeks or so.
But you don't know where it is?
No, I don't. Unless Louis' pa has it.
You're sure it was a .30-30?
Oh, yes.
Did it have a long barrel?
No, the barrel wasn't long. 'Twas a saddle gun.
Do you know if Mr. Mixon Sr. and his son Randall are at their ranch now?
I'm sure I don't know.
Well, thank you, Mrs. Mixon. We won't disturb you any longer.
Oh, that's all right.
Well, goodbye, Mrs. Mixon.
Goodbye, Sheriff.
That business about a .30-30 was a shot in the dark. But it worked, by golly.
Yep, it did. Now the only question is it the same .30-30 as was used in the killing?
It's something we'll have to find out later. Well, we might as well get along up to Randall Mixon's place now.
With a little luck, maybe we'll find the guns up there. One of them, anyway. There's Louis out back. His wife was right about him being up here.
Well, let's talk to him before we go up to the house.
Whatever you say. Hello, Louis. How are you?
Oh, hello, Sheriff. What are you doing up this way?
Oh, just come up on a little business. Say, is your father and brother at home?
No, they're not, Sheriff. They both rode into Carrizosa early yesterday morning and haven't got back yet.
What did they go in for, do you know?
Well, yes, they wanted to borrow some money.
Borrow some money? You know what for?
They had a $100 note that was due at the bank. They're trying to raise money to meet it.
You figure they're still in town now, huh?
Well, they're going to try to sell a couple of horses. They rode the horses in, so maybe that's what held them up. Then they called on some of the ranchers around here.
Mm-hmm. Is your mother at home?
Yeah, she's in the house.
Okay, thanks. I want to talk to her a few minutes before I leave.
There ain't nothing wrong, is there, Sheriff?
Not so far.
Howdy, Sheriff. I saw you standing out here, so thought I'd come out and say hello.
Yeah, howdy, Mrs. Mixon. We come by to ask a few questions.
Yeah? What about, Sheriff?
Well, for one thing, we want to know where your husband and Randall were yesterday.
Why, they was right here.
You mean they were at home all day yesterday, Mrs. Mixon?
Yeah, of course.
And what about the day before yesterday?
They was home all day that day, too.
Yeah. What do you make of that, Sheriff?
I'd say a couple of stories don't fit.
Well, what do you mean?
There's been some trouble at Ancho, Mrs. Mixon, and we're making investigations. Well, I'm afraid you'll have to come along into town with us.
Look, Sheriff, I'm not trying to be unreasonable or anything, but I wish you'd tell me why you're taking me back to Corazoso with you.
You'll find out when we get there, Louis. Now, just take it easy.
Well, what have I done?
As far as I know, you haven't done anything that'll get you into trouble. The worst you have to look forward to for the present, at any rate, is just a little questioning.
Yeah, but I don't see what... Oh, yeah, there's Dad and Randall coming up the road.
You mean those two men on horseback?
Uh-huh.
Sure enough. That's Ben and Randall, all right.
Hi.
Say, Ben, do you and Randall mind riding over to the car? We want to talk to you a minute.
Howdy, Sheriff. I see you got Louis with you.
Yeah.
Hi, Dad. Hi,
Do you mind telling me where you been?
Dad and I are on the way home from Corazoso.
Yeah? Well, what was the reason you went to Corazoso?
Well, I owe the bank $100, and I was trying to borrow the money.
Yeah. Did you get it?
No, not yet.
Your name's Randall, isn't it? Randall Mixon?
That's right.
What did you do with that .45 automatic pistol you bought from Dr. Kelly a few weeks ago?
Well, I sold that gun to a fellow named Fred Spears quite a while back.
You did, huh?
Sure.
And you, Mr. Mixon, what happened to that .30-30 carbine you borrowed from your son Louis?
Well, I lost it off my saddle 2 or 3 weeks ago.
You two don't keep guns in your family very long, do you?
Well, what do you mean?
You better climb down off those horses, both of you. You're going into Corazosa with us.
Yeah, but what about
We'll find somebody to get your horses home for you. But in the meantime, we're going to have a little conference over in the county jail.
In the jail at Corazoso, Louis, Randall, and the elder Mixon were questioned separately by Assistant District Attorney Cuba Clayton and Captain Nichols.
Louis, did your brother Randall ever show you a .45 automatic that belonged to him?
Yeah, a few weeks ago he showed me a gun like that. He said he bought it from Dr. Kelly here in Corazoso for $15.
Was the gun loaded?
I think it was, yeah.
Did Randall mention whether or not he'd ever used the gun?
He said he'd killed a rabbit with it. Said it was a very good gun.
Did Randall or your father ever borrow your .30-30 carbine?
Randall did. We went hunting together one day, but instead of returning the rifle, he took it on home with him.
What for?
I don't know, Mr. Clayton.
Did you ever see the rifle after that?
Well, yeah, about a week later at my pa's house.
And that's the last time, huh?
Uh-huh.
Did you see your father or brother last Friday? That is, on July 23rd.
No. I went by their place and saw them all, but they weren't home.
Did you see them on the following day?
Yeah, they came over to my house early in the morning. Dad wanted to use a saddle of mine, and I told him go ahead. And they rode off. I didn't see him again until we picked him up on the road a while back.
Did you ever know a man by the name of Fred Spears?
Well, yeah, I met a fellow by that name once in Lima, Oklahoma. That was about 1925, though.
What did he look like?
Well, he's a big, broad-shouldered fella, very dark-complected. I judge he's middle-aged, had black hair that's turning gray.
All right, that's all for the present, Louis. Sorry we have to hold you like this.
Well, I don't suppose you can help it. See you later.
Send Randall Mixon in.
Yes, sir.
Come on in, Randall. Sit down.
Thanks.
I want you to tell me all about how you happened to buy that .45 automatic, Randall, and why.
Well, like I told you, I met this fellow Fred Spears. He wanted to trade me a shotgun for a pistol. I didn't have a pistol, so I decided to buy one.
You mean just to make the trade?
Yes. Dr. Kelly showed me one he had for $15. I didn't have but 13, so I borrowed $2 from Dad.
Was your father with you when you bought the gun?
Yes. He was with me when I turned over the gun to Fred Spears.
Did this man Spears give you the shotgun at the time?
No. He said he'd have it for me a little later. Then he never did show up, and I never saw him again.
Seems to me you were kind of a sucker, weren't you?
Well, yes, I suppose I was. Did you ever have this gun at your home, or did you ever show it to your brother Louis? No. I told Louis about buying the gun, but I never showed it to him.
Where did you meet Spears to give him the gun?
In front of the bank.
And the gun was never out of your possession from that moment until you brought it around and turned it over to Spears?
That's right. I came straight from the store and give it to him. Did you ever borrow Louis's 30-30 carbine for any reason? No. When Louis came here first, about 18 months ago, he had the rifle with him. He left it at our house. It's been there ever since. Where is it now? 2 or 3 weeks ago, Dad came back from a ride and said he'd lost it. He never went back to look for it. How did you put in the day last Friday? Well, I worked around the place all morning. In the afternoon, Dad and I went out looking for a stray cow, Louis. Didn't get home till between 9 and 10 o'clock that evening.
What did you do then?
We went right to bed. What about the next day, Saturday? Dad and I rode over to Louis early in the morning. He borrowed a saddle from my brother, and we rode around to some of the ranches we knew, trying to sell a couple of horses.
Did you come into Corzozo?
Yeah, not until early in the evening.
Where did you spend the night?
Well, with some friends who live out of ways. I was coming back from there when you arrested us. Can you describe this man, Fred Spears, for us? He's a very tall fellow, about 35 years old. Has auburn hair and wears a little red mustache. That's all for the time being, Randall. Am I free to go now? No, I'm afraid we'll have to hold you. But I don't... I'll talk to you later, Randall. All right. That's the way it's got to be. Well, Mr. Clayton, what do you make of things now?
I don't think there's any question but that Randall and his father are the killers.
That's the way I look at it, too. Randall's and Louis's stories conflict in nearly every regard. The old man tells a story enough like Randall's to convince me they must have rehearsed it.
That was my impression, too.
The only detail in which the old man's story differed from Randall's was in the description of Fred Spears. Mixon described the same man to us that Louis did, a man he'd known years ago and hadn't seen again until Randall gave him the .45.
Personally, I don't think there is such a person as Fred Spears, at least not the one that Randall told us about. He probably remembered the name from hearing his father and brother talk about a Fred Spears they'd known in Oklahoma.
Well, Sheriff Grayson hasn't been able to locate anyone like that.
Our problem now, Nichols, is to find those guns.
And the sooner the better. I'm going back out to the Mixon Ranch and have a good look around. I've got a hunch I'll find something, Clayton. Mrs. Mixon, there's something I'd like to get straight on. You told us your husband and your son had been at home all day, both on Friday and on Saturday. They claim to have been away from the ranch on both occasions.
Well, they told me to say that.
They told you to say that? Why?
They said they was going out hunting for deer. It was out of season. They wanted me to cover things up for them in case there was any trouble.
I see.
It won't get me in trouble, will it?
No, it won't get you in any trouble, but it hasn't helped their case any.
Then what I better do?
The best thing for you to do is to answer my questions as straightforwardly as you know how.
Yeah?
I found this pair of shoes in one of the rooms. In fact, I found 2 pair together. Who do they belong to?
Well, that pair belongs to Mr. Mixon. I suppose the other pair belongs to Randall.
They're both a little muddy. Do you happen to remember whether or not they were worn by the men last Friday?
Yes, I think they were.
But you're not sure?
Yes. Yes, I'm sure.
That's all, Mrs. Mixon, and thank you.
Hey, Nichols, I just got a report of the chemical analysis on those shoes you brought in from the Mixon home.
What does it say, Sheriff?
The mud on the shoes was identical to the soil at the scene of the killing. Better yet, the shoes fit the plaster casts that were taken off the footprints we found. Fit them perfectly.
Well, that seems to remove all question of doubt.
If we could only find those guns.
Yes, that's where the rub is, all right. We'll never in the world get a conviction without them.
Say, I've got an idea.
Good. What is it?
Did you ever hear of Ab Hunter?
Sure, I know him. He's a cattle inspector.
Right, and he's also the best tracker in this part of the country.
Well?
We'll get him to follow the tracks of the Mixon's horses, the 2 they were riding last Friday when they were supposed to be looking for Louis's stray cow.
Perfect. That may be the solution. Get in touch with him right away, will you? Ab Hunter may save this case for us yet.
We've been following the track of those mixing horses for miles. They weren't fooling when they said they did a lot of riding that day.
Well, you got to give Hunter credit for keeping those tracks in sight as long as he has. I'd lost them a dozen times.
Well, I don't know anyone that's any better, Indians included.
It begins to look like no game. See there? Hunter's led us almost to the pasture of the Mixon Ranch. If they were going to get rid of those guns, they'd have done it before they got this close to home.
Yeah, I guess you're right. It's a darn shame, too. I'd sort of pinned my hopes on
Hold
it.
on, boys. I think I found something.
What is it, Ab?
Well, one of them dismounted here. There's the prints of his feet in the soil.
See anything else?
Now, wait a minute. These footprints lead into that clump of small cedars.
Hold your breath, Sheriff. This may be it.
Yep, I can see where the brush has been disturbed.
We're right behind you, Hunter.
And now, if anything's been... Yep, here it is. Here's something, boys.
What is it?
Well, there's a roll of gunny sacks in here. Hey, wait a second. I'll unwind it.
Well, look at that. Guns. 2 of them.
Yep. A 30-30 carbine and a 45 automatic.
Here's our case, Sheriff. Signed, sealed, and delivered.
In just a moment, Chief Tom Summers will give you the concluding facts regarding tonight's story. You will find that our new all-purpose Rio Grande cracked gasoline gives you more power, more speed, more mileage, and smoother performance because it is scientifically made of 6 important power-producing ingredients instead of the 3 found in ordinary gasoline. Fill up at a red and white Rio Grande service station in the morning. Experience the thrill of police car performance. And now, Chief Summers.
Ballistic experts made tests which proved that the guns found by Hunter were the ones used in this murder. Dr. Kelly identified the automatic as the one he had sold to young Mixon. Both men were found guilty and sentenced to death. Their sentences, however, were later commuted to 99 years imprisonment. Theirs is indeed a story that proves crime cannot pay.
Thank you, Chief Summers.
Mexico State Police calling all cars, attention all cars, to cancellation of broadcast 298 regarding a murder. Suspects in this case are now in custody. That's all. Rosenquist.
This is your narrator, Frederick Lindsley, bidding you good night for Rio Grande.
Next week at this time, Rio Grande will present the case of the man with the iron pipes. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Calling all cars, a copyrighted program created by Rio Grande.
Portland Police calling all cars, attention all cars, broadcast 299 regarding a murder. Be on the lookout for a man known as Gas Pipe Jack. Height 5 feet 9 inches, weighs about 175 pounds. This man is armed and dangerous. That's all. Rosenquist.
Friends, the tremendous acclaim that has greeted Rio Grande's new cracked gasoline is evidenced by the thousands of comments made to our dealers and by the many letters written to us. Letters from intelligent buyers for fleets of commercial automobiles and trucks. Letters that back up the great acclaim made for this new, totally different gasoline by your city, county, and federal law enforcement agencies. Here's what Mr. O.W. Hollingsworth of Coastline Truck Service Incorporated, Los Angeles, says.
We use your cracked gasoline almost without exception, and we honestly believe that it's the best performance gasoline on the coast today.
Mr. A.C. Prickett of the American Transfer and Storage Company of Fresno.
In changing over to the new Rio Grande cracked gasoline, our records show a marked difference in performance. On one particular run, we now use an average of 70 gallons of gasoline compared to 78 gallons of the old-style gasoline on the same haul.
Mr. John W. Driscoll of the Glendale Wholesale Meat and Provision Company states,
I've had occasion to use most of the leading brands of gasoline in my fleet of trucks, but I sincerely believe your gasoline is absolutely the finest I've ever used. I can heartily endorse it to any and all fleet owners.
Just try for yourself the most highly endorsed gasoline ever sold in the West, and you'll return again and again to the red and white Rio Grande station for the gasoline that is first in public service and should be first in yours. The story we are to hear tonight has been taken from the confidential files of the Police Department of the city of Portland, Oregon. We have therefore asked Chief of Police Harry M. Niles to prepare a foreword to our program.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. A sensational crime is often followed by an outbreak of similar crimes. A certain type of criminal, usually illiterate, always vicious, takes the facts of such cases as his inspiration and then devises plans to commit similar crimes, hoping to avoid the mistake the original criminal makes. He is stupid in that, for the original features of a crime are often suppressed by officials in order to forestall just such tricks on the part of the criminal. Such an outbreak occurred in Portland immediately following the arrest of Eddie Wergen, known as Eddie the Hophead. 5 days later, there began a series of crimes similar to that of Wergen. But once again, the criminal learned that the first mistake a criminal makes is to begin a life of crime. We shall learn as our program progresses how one man learned this to his sorrow.
The first tentative shadows of late afternoon were beginning to edge their ways over the rooftops of Portland, Oregon, and to settle into the streets below. Through their lowering gloom, a young man, his hardened features partially concealed under the turned-down brim of his slouch hat, moved furtively along the sidewalk of one of the city's less prosperous business sections. He stopped in front of a second-hand store owned by Morris Zelinsky, threw a last cautious glance up and down the street, and turned towards the doorway.
Good afternoon, sir. I can do something for you, maybe?
Yeah, you can do something for me.
Whatever it is you want. If I got it in stock, you can bet it's the best, mister. And if I ain't got it in stock, well, I can get it for you anyhow.
Don't worry. You got what I'm looking for in your place, all right?
Sure, I wouldn't doubt it. All you got to do is tell me what you want. If it's clothes, I got bargains that would surprise you. All good material. And this week, a special price on over.
And I ain't looking for no new duds. Let me see one of them. Yeah. Let me see one of them suitcases you got piled up on them shelves at the back of the store.
Oh, it's a suitcase you want. I just got to think.
Okay. Trot some of them down for me.
Come along. I'll show you. I got one back here you couldn't beat anywhere for the price. All durable leather.
Yeah.
It's getting it dark. Wait, I'll turn on the light so you can see better.
Never mind that. I don't want no light on, see?
Don't want the light, but you can see some.
Well, electric lights bother my eyes.
Oh, that's too bad. Maybe you should be seeing an eye doctor.
Yeah, maybe.
Anyway, you could carry the merchandise up front by the door. There's plenty of light there to see. Now, here's just a suitcase for a young fella like you. Classy looking, plenty of clothes space, and almost like brand new.
Yeah, it looks all right, but I'd rather see that big one up there in the corner. The one on the top shelf.
The black one, you mean?
Yeah, that's the one.
Sure, I could make you a good price on that suitcase. Wait while I bring over the stepladder.
Sure, take your time. There's no hurry. It's all right.
Now, would you mind to hold the ladder for me while I climb up?
Huh?
One time it slipped, and I was for 10 days in bed.
Oh, okay, sure. I'll hold it.
Thanks. I'll have the suitcase for you in 2 shakes.
Oh, yeah? That's what you think. Yeah. Out cold. Never knew what hit him. Now, where's that cash drawer? Ah, here we are. Well, not bad, not bad. And just like taking candy away from a baby. What a dumb cluck I was not to think of this angle before. Coming out of it. Okay, dope. Here's a piece of gas pipe you can keep to remember me by. Yeah. Come in.
You sent for me, Chief?
Oh, yes, Captain. Come in and sit down.
Yes, sir.
Any developments yet on that Morris Zelinsky slugging?
I'm afraid not, Chief. So far, the boys haven't been able to turn up a single clue.
Mm-hmm.
They've checked both that piece of gas pipe and the newspaper it was wrapped in for fingerprints, but no game.
Mm-hmm. That's not so good.
No, sir.
That thug planned that well, Flaherty. The fact that he lured Zelinsky into a dark corner in the rear of the store, away from the door and the show windows, demonstrates that.
Yes, sir. That and the fact that he didn't leave us a clue to work on.
Have you had a report on Zelinsky's condition?
The doctors at the receiving hospital say it's critical. His skull was fractured, and they seem to think his brain might be injured.
I see.
If he lives, they doubt he'll ever completely regain his sanity.
Well, if that's the case, there's not much hope of Zelinsky being able to give us a description of the man who slugged him.
Doesn't look like it.
We've got to get that slugger. If we don't, well, I'm afraid there's liable to be more victims.
That's true.
I want you to detail 4 plainclothesmen on the job, Flaherty. Get them up into the north end as soon as you can. There aren't any special instructions. They'll have to think and act for themselves.
Yes, sir.
Yes, and another thing.
Yes, sir.
Make it plain to your men that we can't afford to let that slugger strike again, because the next time it may be a case for the homicide squad.
And so began the almost hopeless task of tracking down a criminal who had left no clues. A man whose name and description were unknown to the police. A vicious thug, cunning enough to cover his trail and bold enough to walk the streets without fear of arrest. And then, on the day following the slugging of Morris Zelinsky, a stranger walked into a saloon that was situated within a block of the scene of the crime.
Hey, bartender. How about a little service?
Okay, coming right up.
Boy, oh boy, have I got a hangover from last night.
Yeah, well, I suppose a fellow's got to expect 'em now and then. What'll it be?
Give me a shot of whiskey.
Any special kind? You want bourbon or what?
No, a shot of your bar rye's good enough.
All right, it.
Oh, boy. Hey, that first drink on the morning after sure goes down hard, don't it?
Yeah?
But I'm a diehard. Go ahead, pour me another one.
Okay.
That one went down a little easier. Here you are. Maybe when those drinks start to take hold, I'll begin to feel more like a human again.
You must have been on a bender.
I was. And boy, did I spend a lot of dough.
You did, huh?
I'll say I did. But what do I care? There's plenty more dough where that came from.
You're lucky. I wish I could say that sometimes. Fill it up again?
Huh? Oh, sure. Even after last night, I still got some of my bankroll left. Well, here's looking at you.
Speaking of bankrolls, see the morning papers?
Nah, when I got up this morning, I felt too terrible to even think about reading the newspaper.
Some guy grabbed himself off a nice little piece of change yesterday afternoon.
Yeah?
Only a block from here.
How?
He slugged Morris Zelinsky, a fellow who runs a second-hand store down the street a ways, and cleaned out the cash drawer.
Oh, he slugged him, huh?
Yeah, hit him over the head with a piece of gas pipe. The guy carried the pipe rolled up in a newspaper. So it wouldn't attract attention, I guess.
Well, that's one way of getting dough.
Yeah, but only a rat would pull a stunt like that.
Oh, yeah?
Poor old Morris is in the hospital with a fractured skull. They're not even sure he'll live.
Well, now, ain't that too bad?
Yeah, it is.
How much did the guy get, do you know?
No, the paper didn't say. Looks like they got half the Portland Police Department out looking for him, though. Get him.
Them dumb cops can't catch nobody. Say, you haven't got a paper here, have you?
Sure, somewhere. Yeah. You want to look at it?
Yeah.
Here.
Thanks.
Here
it is. Oh, yeah. Morris Zelinsky, proprietor of a store located at 3rd and Couch Streets, is in a critical condition at the Mercy Hospital. Zarella result of being slugged by an unknown bandit late yesterday. Motive apparently was robbery, but the only clues discovered by police is a piece of gas pipe used by Zelinski's assailant as a weapon in the newspaper in which the pipe was wrapped. Zelinski was found unconscious in the rear of the store by friend Robert Bloomfield, who has since posted a reward of $100 for the arrest.
I'd like to get that reward, huh?
Say, who is this guy, Robert Bloomfield? What's the idea of him butting into this thing?
He's an old friend of Morris's. He runs a second-hand store, too, over on 2nd Street, just a block away from Morris's place.
Well, now, ain't that something? So this guy Bloomfield runs a second-hand store, too, does he?
Yeah.
Over on 2nd Street, huh?
That's right.
Well.
And he can afford that reward easy, too. Old man Bloomfield's worth plenty.
Oh, yeah? How do you know?
Oh, everybody around here knows that. He's been in business in this neighborhood for years. You want another shot?
Huh? Oh, no, not right now. I just remembered there's an errand I got to do. Oh, say.
Yeah?
You mind if I take this newspaper?
Nah, go ahead. I'm all through with it.
Thanks. I'll see you later. Robert Bloomfield, huh? Second and couch, huh?
Oh, good morning, sir. May I help you?
Maybe I can help you even more.
I'm afraid I don't understand.
You're Robert Bloomfield, ain't you?
Yes?
Well, I see in the papers this morning that you was offering a reward for information about the guy who slugged Morris Zelinski.
You know something about that crime?
Know something? I'll say I know something about it.
Well, have you told the police what you know?
Of course not. Why should I? Especially after I seen you was offering a reward.
Oh. Then you know who did this awful thing to my friend.
Well, why else do you suppose I'm here talking to you?
All right. Then suppose you tell me everything you know about this frightful affair.
Not so fast, brother, not so fast. There's a little matter of a reward connected with this, you know. Suppose you show me the color of your dough first.
Oh, the $100 reward.
Now, what do you think I'm talking about?
Oh, but I don't keep so much money here in my store.
No?
Besides, how do I know you're telling me the truth?
You'll know it all right when I get through talking. Where do you keep your dough if it ain't here?
Well, in the bank, of course.
Oh. Well, if you called up the bank, they'd send $100 over here to you, wouldn't they?
Yes, I suppose they would. But I have no intention of doing anything of the sort. When the man who beat up Morris Zelinski over the head is arrested, then I'll gladly pay the reward.
Oh, I get it. You're playing safe, huh? Well, you got some money here, haven't you? How about a little on account?
There is just enough money in the register to take care of the ordinary transactions of the store, and I don't intend to use it for any other purpose. However, if you are sincere, and if you have a straightforward story to tell me in connection with the robbery and injury to my friend, I'm sure we can reach some agreement which will be satisfactory.
Okay. Skip it. Come on in the back of the store. I'll tell you who slugged Morris Zelinski.
In the back of the store? But why there? It was in the back of the store that
Yeah, I know all that. I want to get out from in front of those windows. I don't want nobody to see me in here.
But why not?
Because it ain't healthy to do some things in public.
Oh, I see. Oh, you mean there are certain people you don't want to know you've been talking to me?
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Sure.
All right. We'll go in the back then if you insist. Come on.
Okay, swell.
After all, I certainly don't want you to get into any kind of trouble for doing me a favor.
Yeah, I kind of hoped you'd see it that way.
Yeah. Is this place all right?
Yeah, I guess this is far enough back.
All right. Are you prepared now to tell me the name of the man who beat my friend so cruel?
Sure, I'll tell you the name of the man who slugged Morris Zelinski. You stupid fool, it was me.
You?
Yeah, me, and this is how I did it. Besides this, you can have this pipe for a keepsake, too, the same as your pal. Yeah. Now, my fine feathered friend, we'll have a look in that cash register of yours. That'll be as much there as there was in old man Zelinski's anyhow. Well, say, this is all right. Business must have been booming for you, sucker. You know something? I'm getting to like this racket better and better all the time.
Confounded Flaherty. This is just what I've been afraid of. I knew that if we didn't catch that thug in a hurry, he'd strike again. Who's on this Bloomfield case? Knowles and Erickson, aren't they?
Yes, sir. I'm expecting them to report back here at headquarters most any minute now.
Well, let's hope they found something worth reporting.
I talked to Knowles over the telephone a little while ago, Chief, and he says there's no question but that Bloomfield was slugged by the same man who attacked Morris Zelinski.
Well, I'm naturally inclined to accept that view myself, on general principles. But has he got any tangible evidence to prove it, Sergeant?
Both Bloomfield and Zelinski were slugged in identically the same manner, sir. Each was lowered to the back of his store and then stuck over the head with a section of gas pipe, wrapped in a newspaper. In both cases, the pipe and the newspaper were left behind, and the money was taken out of the cash drawer.
Well, Knowles may be right, of course. But I wish he'd get back here. We've got to get action on this thing before the situation gets away from us. This slugger's put 2 victims in the hospital already.
Yeah.
And within a single day of each other. One may never regain his reason, and the other one's probably dying.
Well, Broomfield's dead, sir. We just received word.
Then it is, Smith.
Yes.
I tell you, Captain, that...
Oh, here are Knowles and Erickson now.
I was wondering when you boys were going to get back here.
Yes?
Have you turned up anything new on that Bloomfield slugging? He's dead, you know.
Yes, sir. They told us when we came by the desk. I think we have definite proof that these 2 attacks were carried out by the same man, Chief. Oh, isn't that piece of pipe lying there the same one that was used to slug Zielinski?
That's right, Erickson.
Well, here's the one we picked up in Bloomfield's place. I'm going to put them side by side on the desk here. Ah, you see, sir?
See what? What are you driving at?
Both of these pipes are the same size, both approximately the same length, and they're both rusted to the same degree.
So what?
Well, that indicates to me that these pipes came from the same source. Further proof of my theory that both jobs were pulled by the same man.
Well, we're all inclined to believe that anyway. But what does it get us? What have we got that are clues that will enable us to find the man who pulled these 2 jobs?
Knowles, you got that newspaper that was wrapped around the piece of pipe we found in Bloomfield's store?
Yeah, right here. I'll unroll it. There you are.
Here's our second clue, Captain. You see this ring on the front sheet?
Yes?
Someone set a wet glass down on this paper, and the mark it left indicates that the glass was of the sort used by saloons for serving whiskey.
Well, I'll grant you that. But as a clue, it's too vague for any value.
Now, wait a minute, sir. Let me show you the back of this paper. Here, I'll unfold it and turn it over. Now, you'll notice that the back of this paper has been moistened at some time or other. The paper's been stained and lost its smoothness. And there's still a noticeable odor remaining.
Yes, I get it. Mm-hmm.
Someone spread this paper out on a moist surface while reading it. And that odor and that glass ring on the front sheet means that the wet surface was the top of a saloon bar.
A saloon, eh?
Yeah.
But you won't get any place searching through a flock of saloons for a man who stole 2 pieces of gas pipe from the same junk heap.
Oh, that isn't the idea, Captain. I'm going to search the saloons for a man who had, or still has, a certain watch in his possession.
A watch?
That's right. Robert Bloomfield had the habit of keeping his watch in the drawer of his cash register while he was in the store. Now, that watch was taken when the cash register was rifled by the slugger. And I have a full description of the watch and the number of the movement.
Oh, I see. Then you have really got something to go on after all.
Well, I think we have. And the newspaper clue merely narrows down my search for the watch to saloons in the vicinity where the 2 crimes were committed.
Good work, boys. Just the knowledge that we've any sort of a lead at all is a big relief to me.
To all of us, I guess, sir. Well, let's get going, Knowles.
Right.
The sooner we find that watch, the sooner we'll have a prisoner.
Hey, how are you, bartender?
Oh, hello, fella. You get over your hangover all right?
Oh, boy, not yet. I went overboard again last night.
Yeah, I know. You're in here for a little while.
Was I? Doggone if I can remember.
Don't you remember coming in around midnight? You had some friend with you.
Midnight? No, afraid I don't.
The 2 of you sat up there at the end of the bar.
Really?
I was working one of the night bartender shifts for him, see? You had a couple of drinks, incidentally, you and your friend, and then wandered out without paying for them.
Oh, I did, huh? Well, a guy sure does some screwy things when he's cracked. I'll fix it up with you before I leave.
No hurry.
Say, come here, will you?
Yeah?
How'd you like to buy a good watch cheap?
I got a watch.
Yeah, but take a good look at this one. Ain't it a honey? And I'll make you a swell bargain on it, too.
It's a nice-looking watch, all right, but I wouldn't have any use for it. Besides, I'm pretty near busted.
All right, listen, I'll show you what kind of a guy I am. Watches and money don't mean nothing to me. There's always plenty more where these come from, see? So, look, here's what I'll do. I owe you for 4 drinks, right?
Right.
All right, I'll put the watch down on a bar like this, see? And right here beside it, I'll put the money for the 4 drinks. Now, here's the kind of a sport I am. Take your choice. Whichever it is, we'll call it square.
You mean either the watch or the money?
Sure, that's right. And there ain't no catch to it, neither.
All right. In that case, I'll take the watch.
Okay, fellow, okay. That suits me fine. Slip me a shot of rye, will you?
Sure will.
Thanks.
Did you see in the papers where that slugger knocked off another man? This time the guy died.
Nah, I never read the papers much. Say, look, fella.
Yeah?
I notice there are a lot of strangers in this part of town tonight, and something tells me that they're dicks.
You named it. Yeah, detectives, all right.
They're staking out on every pawn shop and second-hand store in the North End.
Oh, yeah? You know, I bet the slugger'd like to know that, don't you think?
Well, if he knew it, he'd lay off that gas pipe racket.
Why?
Yeah, well, it wouldn't be healthy tonight for any man to walk into a pawn shop or a second-hand store with a newspaper rolled up in his hand.
Yeah, I suppose he'd change his racket, all right. Start picking on some other kind of stores. Yeah, I think it would be healthier for the slugger to change his business for a while.
Hello, Mr. Jim.
Huh? Oh, hello, Wong.
Hello. Looky, I bring you back your suit, see? Oh, fix you up very nice, you see?
Yeah, that looks fine, Wong. You sewed up that tear under the coat sleeve.
Oh, yes, see. Hair all sewed up very neat. Yeah, I also make it clean, classy suit. You like it?
Oh, it looks okay from here. Hand it across the bar to me, will you, Wong?
Yeah, all right. Here, you take it.
Hey, you did do a nice job. How much dough you?
How much all?
Yeah.
Oh, How
much is that?
Yeah, 50 cents, 50 cents.
Well, that's cheap enough for work like this. Here you are, Wong.
Yeah, all right. Thank you, Mr. Jim. You'll catch him more suit, get it clean in place, see? Wong do very fine.
Okay, Wong, I'll remember that. Good night.
Yeah. Good night, Mr. Jim.
Chink Taylor, huh? I thought they were all laundrymen or cooks. This is a new one on me.
I know. Wong's a pretty good tailor.
Oh,
Got
yeah?
a lot of customers around here.
Oh, probably makes quite a bit of dough, huh?
I wouldn't be surprised. His little shop over at 2nd and Ankeny looks pretty prosperous.
2nd and Ankeny, eh? Just a block away, and a guy told me once the Chinks don't keep their dough in banks.
What'd you say?
Huh? Oh, I was just thinking out loud. I guess a bad habit, don't you think?
Yeah. Another drink?
Huh? No, not right now. I got a couple of things I got to do. Oh, say,
Huh?
You through with that newspaper? I'd like to read what it has to say about the slugger if you are.
Why don't you buy one of your own sometime? Sure, take it.
Well, I'll buy one sometime. I'll just fold it up and slip it in my pocket if you
Not
don't mind.
taking any chances of the detectives picking you up for the slugger.
What? Them dumb cops? Don't make me laugh. Well, I'll be seeing you.
Yeah. Good night, fella.
Good night. St. Taylor, huh? Well, what do you know about that? And only a block away, too.
Hey, look where you're going, will you?
Hey, what's the matter?
Knowles, come along. Sorry, old fellow.
Oh, well, that's all right.
Hello, Jim. Oh, hello, Exxon. How's Trigg? Pretty good. You want a little of the customary poison?
No, thanks, Jim. Knowles and I are working tonight.
Oh.
Hey, who was that hard-looking gorilla just went out?
I don't know who he is. He's been dropping in here pretty regular for the last few days. I admit he looks kind of tough, but he acts okay.
What's he do for a living, you know?
No, I haven't the faintest idea, but he seems to have plenty of money. Watches, too, I guess.
Watches? What do you mean?
Well, you see this watch here? He laid that on the bar alongside of the price of 4 drinks that he owed me and told me to take my choice. I took the watch, naturally. Beauty, isn't it?
Let me see that watch.
Sorry, take it.
By George Erickson, it matches the description to a T. I'll open the back and we'll make sure.
What's this all about?
14, 3, 56, 7, 8, 1.
That's it. That's our watch, Erickson.
That fellow we bumped into gave you this watch, did he, Jim?
Yeah.
You know where he was bound for when he left here?
I haven't the faintest idea. He just said he had a couple of things to do.
What were you two talking about just before you went out?
Oh, I don't know. We're talking about the slugger that's been operating around this neighborhood. That's about all.
What did this bird have to say about the slugger?
Well, I don't remember very clearly. Seems to me he said something about the slugger changing his line of business, seeing as how you detectives were watching all the pawn shops, the second-hand stores. It ought to be a smart thing for him to do. I think it's
anything else? Any mention of any other line of business?
No, none that I can... No. Wait a minute. Yeah, we were talking about Wong, that Chinese tailor over at 2nd and Ankeny. This fellow suggested that Wong might be making a lot of money.
Good Lord, come on, Knowles. There's still a bare chance that we can keep a Chinese tailor out of the morgue.
Where you get those sleeper? No, nothing in there.
All right. Cut the serenade, Bing, and come on over here.
Oh, good evening.
You're a tailor, ain't you?
Yeah, tailor. You liking me make a nice suit for you?
Huh?
Or maybe so fix up not very good suit you wear.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's just what I need. A new suit.
Oh.
Let me see some of that cloth you got in those shelves back there.
Yeah, you come look, you see. I catch a very fine pattern, yeah.
Okay.
You look, see. Oh. You lucky this one?
Huh?
Very sporty. Maybe so you lucky this one better.
No stripes for mine. 2 years of that was enough. Let me see that other bundle there.
Oh, this one?
No, that other one. Just turn your back and... Yeah, that's it.
Oh, yeah, I see now. Yeah, all right. I get you off the shelf.
Yeah, this is what you'll get, you...
What for you hitting me?
I'll show you, you yellow heel.
I fix you plenty.
Yeah.
You no can hit me with the pipe.
Oh, yeah? Well, I'll show you some real
No, no.
fancy fixing.
Mr.
Fighting
Michael.
won't do you no good, because
No,
I'm going to
no,
cave in that hard skull of yours with a skin.
No.
Right face.
Oh, my God.
I'll show you.
No,
Let go there. Let go it.
Please. Drop it,
Drop that pipe, you rat. Drop it quick. Dick, huh? Okay, coppers, come and get me if you dare.
Look out for that pipe.
I'll show you.
All right, Knowles, I got him. Get the handcuffs on.
Wise guys, huh? Wise guys, you think you're smart coppers. Well, you got nothing you can pin on me, see?
Yeah, if you think we haven't, you're crazy.
Oh, yeah?
We got enough on you to put 6 men in prison.
What?
And that's not counting the murder charge.
Just a minute, please. I
Huh?
got idea.
What is it?
You let him go back in the room with Wong all alone, see? No more pipe. Wong make it fix him. Wong fix him plenty, China style.
Yeah, that sounds like a swell idea,
Huh?
Wong.
Wait a minute, you can't do that to me. I'm an American citizen, see? I got my rights, and I'm going to protect them, too.
Yeah, I wish I could let you do it, Wong. Nothing would be bad enough for this yellow rat.
I fix him good, see, for hitting me with the pipe. I fix him good all the time like a China.
The more I think of the idea, the better I like it, Wong.
But when there's
Hey, you better hurry up and call the wagon, Knowles, before I yield to temptation.
In just a moment, we shall hear the concluding facts in our story. For the last 6 years, Rio Grande cracked gasoline has been tested and proved by the exacting drivers of police cars, fire engines, ambulances, and emergency equipment in the cities and counties of California. These men who know have found it to fulfill all their demanding requirements. Let's drive into a red and white Rio Grande station tomorrow and give this new liquid dynamite an honest trial. Jack Carver, alias Gas Pipe Jack, was brought to trial and speedily convicted. He was sentenced to spend the remainder of his life in contemplation of the fact that a life of crime is a losing proposition.
Portland Police calling all cars, attention all cars, a cancellation of broadcast 299 regarding a murder. Suspect in this case is now in custody. That's all. Rosenquist.
This is your narrator, Frederick Lindsley, bidding you good night for Rio Grande.
Next week at this time, Rio Grande will present the case of the 10th Commandment. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
KNX, Columbia Square, Los Angeles. 23 seconds until 9:30 p.m. BULOVA, Bulova Watch Time.
To open our program.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is a pleasure to again appear on Calling All Cars with a story that proves once more the truth of the adage that crime cannot pay. As you shall see as the program progresses, the mere existence of obstacles never deters a law enforcement officer from ultimately achieving his goal. Tonight's story was brought to its conclusion through the cooperation of officers from several jurisdictions. It is a source of increasing satisfaction to me that such cooperation is stronger today than ever in the effort of law enforcement agencies to bring home to the criminally inclined the proof that crime never can pay.
Riding at anchor 7 miles out from shore at Long Beach, California, the gambling ship Johanna Smith rolled easily on the bosom of the Pacific. It was not yet midnight of September 20th, 1933, but already 240 patrons milled about in the ship's huge gambling casino.
One's the natural, Dice. Don't hide from him, Papa. Come on, Dice. Seven's a four-way point. Show it to me.
Come on, hit me. Oh, hit me again. Okay, I'm good.
Take 20.
Oh, hey, wait a minute. Look, Sugar Daddy. Red came up again.
Looks like you're in tonight, fella. Keep your fingers crossed, honey. I'm betting it works in the next turn.
Suddenly, from the forward promenade deck on the port side of the ship, 5 staccato reports crashed through the night. So absorbed were the players in the casino that none heard the shots, but to the keen ears of Engineer Frank Tinsley in the boiler room below, it was a different story.
Did you hear that, Sam?
Yeah, it sounded like shots.
Well, not only sounded like them, they were shots.
Good night. You don't suppose somebody's got drilled, do you, Frank?
No, probably some wise guy showing his girlfriend how well he can shoot.
Yeah. More likely using the light bulbs in the rigging as targets. I've known him to do that.
Well, whatever it is, I'll darn soon put a stop to it.
Want me to come with you?
No, you better stick around here. I'll be back in a minute.
Engineer Tinsley hurried on deck and into the casino. Nothing wrong there. He dashed up a short flight of stairs and groped his way to the forward promenade deck. In the dim light, he almost stumbled over a dark form that lay at his feet in a slowly widening pool of blood.
Oh. Hey, fella. Are you hurt very bad?
Alongside, Peterson. They're coming aboard now.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Captain McDonald.
We're special agents from the Department of Justice. Who's in charge here?
I'm in charge of the investigation. My name's Peterson.
Oh, yes, Peterson. They gave us your name when we were sent out.
Yeah, this is Captain McDonald. He's master of the Johanna Smith.
All right, Captain.
I took a chance when I called you that this case would be in your jurisdiction.
That's right. Murder on an American vessel on the high seas interests Uncle Sam, all right.
Right up here is where the man's body was found.
Any line on who might have killed him?
Not yet. I found these 5 exploded shell cases on the deck.
Came from a 32, eh?
Yes.
Here, what's this?
Where?
Embedded in the deck here. Looks like a steel-jacketed lead slug.
Well, funny I missed that. Yeah, I'll have it out in a second. We'll take a look at it.
Yeah, it's probably a 32 bullet, all right. Keep it with the shells, and we'll find out for sure later. What I want to know now is what happened here.
Well, I was in the boiler room below when I heard 5 shots fired up here. I ran on up and found the young man lying in a pool of blood.
Who are you?
My name's Tinsley, sir. I'm the engineer aboard.
Mm-hmm. Go on.
I asked this fellow who shot him. He couldn't answer. Then Captain McDonald came along. He and Harvey Pons. Harvey's the steward. They carried the man down to a water taxi.
The boy died before we reached the docks. Never regained consciousness.
You know who he was?
Haven't the least idea. But I know whoever killed him is still on board this ship.
How do you know that, Captain?
Because nobody's been permitted to leave. Those are my orders before we took the boy's body ashore.
Well, that was using your head. What about the murder gun, Peterson? Did you find it?
Not yet. But we took these things off the dead man's body. Here, look them over.
Mm-hmm. 32 caliber Colt's automatic. Fully loaded, huh? Blood-stained road map. Hey, what's this?
It's a seaman's certificate of registration.
The name's a little hard to make out. Let's see. It looks like Norman Lorraine. Is that how it looks to you?
Yes, that's the name, all right.
Where did he keep all this stuff?
He had it in the inside pocket of his coat.
The gun and everything?
That's right. The road map was folded over the butt of the automatic.
What does the murdered man look like?
Young, rather good looking. I'd say between 20 and 25 years old, 6 feet tall, had curly black hair.
Shot at close range, would you say?
I think so. 1 bullet entered the side of his chest. He caught another in the stomach, and 2 went into his back. A 5th bullet just grazed him.
Yeah. About how many guests have you aboard, Captain?
240, as I figured.
How many in the crew?
65, including the waiters, musicians, dealers, and all.
So now all we have to do is find out which of 305 people is the one we're looking for.
That's right.
Well, what do you think we better do first?
Oh, I suppose we'll have to start by questioning every one of these people.
What a job.
While we're doing it, we better have a search made of the ship, see if anyone's hiding out somewhere or see if we can't find that gun.
Why couldn't one of your special agents take Tinsley here and 3 or 4 members of the crew? Or we question the people in the casino.
Yeah, that's an idea.
Well, the sooner we get started, the sooner we'll find out something. That is, if we're going to find out anything.
A few minutes later, the patrons in the casino were segregated in a corner where it was impossible for them to communicate with members of the crew. Then the trying task of questioning was begun.
You know a young man named Norman Lorraine?
No.
Did you hear any shots fired?
No. Is anyone missing from your party?
No.
Have you seen anyone acting suspiciously?
No.
Then began the questioning of the crew. It began to look hopeless that the officers would receive even a shred of information until at last 2 members of the ship's orchestra were approached.
Did you hear any shots fired?
Well, yes, at least something that sounded like shots.
So did I, officer.
Where were you boys when you heard these shots?
Well, we were up on the upper deck having a cup of coffee.
Yes? What then?
Well, we heard this noise and looked out the window. A few seconds later, I saw a man walk past the coffee shop.
But neither of you made any effort to find out what had happened?
Well, no, sir. We just thought it was some drunk showing off.
Can you describe the man you saw?
Well, all I know is he had on a snap-brim felt hat. I think it was a gray one. I think he had on a gray suit, too, but might have been blue or maybe it was brown. I don't know.
That's a big help.
Well, it was pretty dark out there, and I only just caught a glimpse of him.
Do you think you'd know him again if you saw him?
Oh, me? No, I wouldn't know him in a million years.
Well, that's just swell.
What's the matter, Peterson?
I thought I was going to get myself a little information here, but all I get is talk about gray felt hats. Good night, there's 60 men in there with gray felt hats.
Tough luck. Here's some more. That search party combed the ship but didn't find a thing.
No game, huh?
No.
Well, it's 10 to 1. The killer tossed the gun overboard, so...
Try to answer me, fella. Who shot you?
Hey, Tinsley, is that you?
Yes, sir. It's me, all right, Captain.
What seems to be the trouble?
Well, this fellow's been shot by somebody. Looks like he's hurt pretty bad.
Did you just find him?
Yes, sir. I heard the shots down in the boiler room and came up to find out what was going on.
He's still alive, that's a cinch.
Yes.
I'll see if there's a doctor on board. Hold up your band a minute, Phil. I want to make an announcement to the people here in the casino.
Certainly, Captain.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'll only interrupt you a second. I want to find out if there's a doctor here. A man's been hurt. If there's a doctor present, I'd like him to please step forward. Now, please. There's nothing to be alarmed about. I'll ask once more, is there a doctor here? No? Well, then I'm sorry, but all guests will remain in the casino for the time being. Now, I repeat, there's no need for alarm. I only ask you to amuse yourselves here in the casino for the next few minutes. All right, Phil, go ahead.
Captain MacDonald and Steward Harvey Pons rushed the badly wounded man toward shore in a water taxi. But it was an undertaking establishment where he finally arrived, having died during the trip. The Long Beach police were at once notified, and Lieutenant of Detective C.E. Peterson and Detective Sergeant M.B. Payne were assigned to the case. Peterson's first official act was to telephone to Captain Muller S. Hay, commander of the United States Coast Guard Station number 17 at San Pedro.
Captain Hay?
Yes?
This is Detective Lieutenant Peterson of the Long Beach Police.
Oh, yes?
There's been some trouble out on the gambling ship Joanna Smith. Shooting.
Oh, I see. Well, what do you want me to do?
I'd like to have you send a cutter to stand by out there and see that no passengers disembark from the ship until given permission to do so from the proper authorities.
Certainly. I'll be glad to cooperate.
Well, thank you, Captain.
Special agents from the United States Department of Justice were also notified, and within a short time augmented the forces of the municipal police aboard the gambling vessel.
The launch with those government men just pull up.
Calling all cars, a copyrighted program created by Rio Grande.
Los Angeles Sheriff's Office calling all cars. Attention all cars. Broadcast 297 regarding a murder. Assist the officers aboard the Joanna Smith gambling ship off Long Beach. That's all. Rosenquist.
Most gasolines sold today are much improved over those of yesterday, but still there is a difference. All-purpose Rio Grande cracked is one of those different gasolines. Ordinary gasoline contains only 3 ingredients, while the new all-purpose Rio Grande cracked contains 6 ingredients expertly blended. These 6 are cracked, poly, straight run, casing head, stabilizer, and tetraethyl. These terms may mean little to you, but to a petroleum engineer and to your motor, they mean more power, more mileage, smoother performance, and more speed. These are the qualifications specified by the drivers of police cars, fire engines, ambulances, and other emergency equipment. In other words, our engineers have tailored our gasoline to conform to the demands of these exacting buyers of gasoline. And I assure you that when you purchase your gasoline from the red and white Rio Grande station, you'll get the same gasoline which is used in this important automotive equipment. Try this new all-purpose gasoline just once, and you will then know why it is the most highly recommended gasoline sold in the West. Although the story we are to hear tonight fell within the jurisdiction of the federal government, it was through the cooperation of the office of Sheriff Eugene Biscayous of Los Angeles County that the information we are about to present was secured. We have therefore asked Sheriff Biscayous